My grandparents had to survive on roots of plants during the Cultural Revolution. And now, both my parents and I have to flee to escape the clutches of the CCP. I'm here to introduce the protest and introduce our members of parliament. Just some gentle reminders before we start. Please stay warm, please watch out for each other, and if you see anything suspicious or you're not feeling well, please signal our stewards who are in high vis right now. The aim for the protest is to prove that the Metropolitan Police previous opposition to the Chinese embassy plan due to inability to ensure safe protest was correct. And I think we successfully demonstrated that. We're also here to prove that the Royal Mint Court is not a suitable location for the Chinese embassy for security and geopolitical reasons. Before we go into speeches from our members of parliament, apologies in advance pronouncing your constituencies wrong because it's very confusing sometimes. But having listened to so many House of Commons debate where I have been trying to decipher UK politicians' pronunciation of Chinese name, I'll give myself a pass. So without further ado, we'll now invite the Right Honourable Robert Jenrick MP for Newark. He's the Shadow Secretary of State for Justice and Shadow Lord Chancellor and former Secretary of State for Housing, Communities and Local Government.
Well, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, friends, for coming here today in your thousands to prove this point and to send a very powerful message to Tower Hamlets Council, to the planning inspector who will shortly be considering this application, and to the Secretary of State, Angela Rayner, to David Lammy, the Foreign Secretary, to Rachel Reeves, the Chancellor of the Exchequer, and to the Prime Minister, that we do not want this great historic building behind us, the Royal Mint, in this, one of the most historic locations in our capital city, in the shadow of the Tower of London and Tower Bridge and the Roman Wall of the City of London. We do not want this to become a mega embassy of the Chinese Communist Party. This is the wrong site, it is the wrong process, and it is wrong for the national security of our country. This is the wrong site. The brave residents who are here today do not deserve to live in a compound run and owned by the Chinese Communist Party. That is not the way we live in this country. This is the wrong process. This is a deeply flawed process. One of the worst processes I've ever seen in the planning system in this country. When was the last time you saw the Prime Minister of this country on camera bowing down before Xi Jinping and saying clearly that he would help, he would do everything to ensure that this building became the Chinese embassy? That is wrong. It has made a mockery of the legal process. And this is wrong for our national security. Don't take it from me. Take it from the police and our security services. Take it from Callum McCullum, who said himself that the #1 espionage threat to our country is China. Why then? Why, when you have China stealing our intellectual property, spying on members of our government, sanctioning members of parliament like the brave members of parliament behind me, and intimidating, harassing British citizens day in, day out, why would we allow them to have here the biggest mega embassy and spy headquarters in Europe? No self-respecting country would do that. So we have to stand against it. We have to stand against it. Above all, why would we offer the prestige? Why would we dignify China with this great historic building in this greatest and most historic of settings? No. So I'm here today to stand with you and to say that we have a fight on our hands. We have to fight this tooth and nail. And I think that we can do it. So it may not be the most glamorous thing on a protest, but I need you when you leave this protest today to email the planning inspector and make your views known. Write to Angela Rayner, the Secretary of State, who will ultimately be making the decision. Write to the Prime Minister and say that we are the United Kingdom. We do not bow down to bullies, and we are not going to give this great building behind us to the Communist Party of China. No, it's the wrong site, the wrong process, and it's wrong for our national security. Thank you very much indeed. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So next we'll have Lai McDougall MP for East Westfordshire. He's the chair of the AKPG in Hong Kong.
Thank you. Friends, we are involved in a global struggle between authoritarianism and those of us who believe in human rights and the dignity of the individual, between democrats and dictatorships. It's been taking place in the camps of Xinjiang, in the monasteries of Tibet. It's been taking place in the tower blocks of Hong Kong. But today we can see, here outside the Tower of London, it is here in the UK as well. The struggle is here. I am angry this week because this week has been a good week for the bad guys. I've spoken this week to human rights defenders from Tibet, to Democrats from Hong Kong, to dissidents from inside China who have had their support withdrawn by Elon Musk, a man who's made billions doing business with the Chinese Communist Party, who's repaying those people who made him rich by removing support from them. And it comes at a time where human rights defenders and Democrats all over the world are in retreat, and a time when we hear people who talk about themselves as realists, I call them defeatists, who say to us that a foreign policy based on values is something of the past, that now foreign policy is about commercial relationships, who say to us that it's naive to believe that human rights are universal, who say to us that China is now too powerful to be challenged. Are they right?
No! Hell no!
Hell no, absolutely. So, together, we are here today to say that that is not right. And whenever those voices of defeatism get into my head, whenever I feel doubtful, I think of Tangerai, Uyghur women, raped repeatedly in the concentration camps, sterilized, tortured, who escaped and spoke out. She would have wanted to forget the things that had happened to her, but she spoke out because she wanted to make sure that it didn't happen to others. I think of a young man called Sona, who I met in Dharamshala, Tibetan, who when he was 8 years old, climbed over the Himalayas because he wanted to live somewhere where he had the freedom to believe whatever he wanted to believe. And I think of Jimmy Lai, someone who knew he risked everything, but still went back to Hong Kong to speak up for the values that we believe in. So when those people say that we can't fight back, when people say that we can't stand up to China, we need to take courage from those people, courage from the thousands of Hong Kongers who have chosen exile over compromising on their values. And with that courage, we need to say to China, if you want to open an embassy here, you need to close the camps in Xinjiang. If you want this to be released from planning, unfreeze the billions of pounds you've stolen from Hong Kongers and their savings. And if you want this country to be open to you, you need to open the doors of Jimmy Lai's prison cell and release him today. take courage from those people and show Beijing that we will stand up to them. We need to show them who we are and show them that we are willing to take a stand. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Now we'll invite the Right Honourable Thompson and Han MP for Tonbridge and Westmoreland, former Security Minister. Thank you.
My friends, we were told that this site was appropriate. All I can say to you now is look behind you. We've demonstrated very clearly the first thing today. And the first thing is that the planning inspectors, the police, all those responsible for choosing need to see what they're asking us to put here. The next question we need to ask ourselves is why? Why are you all here? Why am I here? Why are we here? Why are we so interested in what could go on behind us? Because we know that when the Chinese Communist Party puts up walls, what goes on inside them is never in Britain's interest. We know that when the Chinese Communist Party closes doors, the only thing they trap is freedom. And we know, because many of you have lived it, many of you who are courageous Hong Kongers, courageous Tibetans and Uyghurs, who have explained your testimony 1,000 times, have been extremely clear that when the Chinese Communist Party brings its presence, fear comes close behind. Now we need to be very clear what we stand for, because we know that even today in the United Kingdom, around Europe and around the world, individuals are being threatened by the Chinese Communist Party here, at home. We know that courageous activists have been silenced, others have been followed, more have been intimidated for crimes like journalism, crimes like freedom of thought, crimes that should never be crimes anywhere in the world. And here in the United Kingdom, we say no. But we don't say no to everything. We say yes. We say yes to the Hong Kongers who've made their lives here, who understand what freedom means and what society means. We say yes. We say yes to the freedom of Uyghurs to practice their faith, to practice their culture in the way that they feel at home. This is the United Kingdom, a country of freedom. And we say yes to the Tibetans, who built monasteries, who've made homes, who've been part of our community and our society for many, many years. We say yes to them. And let's also be clear. We say yes to the courageous Chinese dissidents who fled from Beijing and Shanghai, who call out the truth in Wuhan, who studied in Ningbo and many, many other places. When you come here, you are safe here, you are free here, and we will not tolerate the CCP doing to you here what they try to do to you in China. Because let's be absolutely clear. This protest, it's not about bricks and mortar. This protest is not about our relationship to the Chinese people we're proud to call friends. This protest is about the CCP. It is about the spread of oppression and silence and fear. It is about the hatred that Xi Jinping and his Marxist nationalist ideology have spread in China, and we will not allow it to spread here in London. Thank you very much.
Last but not least, we have the Right Honourable Sir Ian Duncan-Smith MP for Chingford and Wickford Green, former leader of the Conservative Party, and also, well, testing, and IPAC co-chair. Ian, please.
I want to say, first of all, a thank you to all of you who have turned out from Scotland, the north of England, from London, all over the UK, to show that you are here because you stand for freedom. And that is the point today. You have fled China because it does not, under the communist government, believe in freedom. This embassy here that they want would be a demonstration of how the British government sadly has given in to a communist government who believes in totalitarian measures and doesn't believe in freedom. And by the way, those that might be making a noise at the back there, who stand with the Chinese Communist Party, you are not welcome here because we believe in freedom. What we don't need is an embassy here where 200 British citizens live on this site. What we don't need is an embassy here right next to the City of London and on the major arterial routes to all of our commercial enterprise here and near the Tower Bridge. If they want an embassy, a super embassy, like the Americans, they should go south of the river.